It was a dark, cold night. The rain was hitting the window like 100 crazy fingers trying to claw their way inside. It washed away the filth that the city attracted like a mangy street dog attracts fleas. As a single beam of moonlight illuminated the room, the shadows dancing against the walls mocked me as I leaned back in my chair. For on this dank, moist evening, I yearned for a game. But not just any sort of game would do. Shuffling through my collection, seemingly fruitless, Lady Luck decided to deal me a good set of cards. Or maybe it was the detective in me stirring for a mystery to solve, a desire to connect the loose strings, to connect the dots. And the god of rainy nights and dark alleyways provided. The game I had found was Chicken Police painted red. I just love the old film noir vibe with its stylish settings in dark cities, threatening alleyways and misty streets. A story woven into a perfect blend of melancholy, cynicism and paranoia. The hard-boiled detective, the femme fatale, and the gloomy city filled with shady characters. Gotta love it. Chicken Police manages to hit off all the right checkmarks of this noir style, as you could call it, with the extra twist that all the characters in the game are animals. Or humanoid animals to be precise. And if we are being brutally honest, most characters are human bodies with an animal head photoshopped on them. And it works. It just works. I would even say it adds to the experience. If the characters were human, the game wouldn't be as interesting. The anthropomorphic animal thing has been done before in stuff like Zootopia and Beastars. Watch that anime, that's good shit. But seeing the atmosphere of the noir vibe intermingled with the intrigues and politics of these different animal species packed into this city, Clawville, trying to survive the daily grind is quite an interesting concept on its own. You fill the raincoat of Sonny, a cock. A rooster, okay, you fucking weirdos. Sonny is a cop that was placed off duty after an incident. He's a mean, cynical son of a bitch with a heart of gold, although he manages to hide it well. So, Grizzly Noir Detective, check. Sonny ends up working on a case to find out who is stalking and harassing a famous and beautiful dancer who also happens to be the sweetheart of the local mob boss. Femme fatale, check. What starts out as a pretty straightforward case of stalking takes a hard left when a murder occurs, spiraling Sonny and his trigger-happy partner Martin into a dangerous web of conspiracies, deceit and crime. The actual plot, while not award-winning material, keeps you interested as you follow the trail of breadcrumbs, and it just keeps oozing that sweet noir vibes. Plus, like I mentioned before, adding the intrigues and politics of this strange animal/human hybrid world to that mix certainly adds a lot of flavor to the story. For a linear visual novelish game, Chicken Police does a fair bit of world building. You can actually learn a lot about the history and motivations of the characters through the dialogue, but Sonny also keeps a little book where he writes down all the clues he finds, but he also has a detailed bio of the characters he meets along with short info sections that are filled with historical, political and social information about Clawville and some other countries in this world referred to as the Wilderness. Sonny is pretty thoroughly with his little hint book, it's almost an encyclopedia. All this helps the game a lot and fleshes out the story a lot more for those who wish to know more. Gameplay wise, it's a visual novel with a few puzzles, and by a few I mean not a lot at all. They can be annoying when you have to find or trigger an object that blends too much in the background, but aside from one puzzle that didn't really make sense to me, I didn't really have any problems. The main active gameplay though takes place in the shape of an interrogation minigame, where Sonny questions certain characters. Before the minigame starts, Sonny will give his opinion about the person he'll question, and you will have to use that to choose the best suited questions to ask. For example, if Sonny mentions the suspect is arrogant, then it might be smart to ask questions that also stroke the ego, or the exact opposite in hopes the suspect might slip up. The better your line of questioning is, the more information you'll get, and the higher your detective score will be at the end. It's an interesting way to go about questioning people, but the game is far too forgiving. There's no real penalty for sucking at interrogation besides a bad score. The story continues nonetheless. A bit too forgiving for a gritty detective noir game, right? Oh yeah, there's also a shooting minigame that happens like twice in the entire game, and it sucks balls. Luckily it's short and easy, plus I understand why they added it. Shootouts are just a part of it. Detective noir shootouts in rainy streets? Check. Shame the controls and aiming is crap. The art direction Chicken Police takes is this photorealistic approach. The dark gloomy background clashing with bright neon signs showered in an everlasting rainy night really hits up a notch for the mood. Okay, let's review our case here. Chicken Police Painted Red is a stylish detective noir visual novel game that's filled to the brim with atmosphere and a healthy dose of dark humor. While the actual gameplay is mainly puzzles and minigames, the plot and overall world experience of the game will certainly keep you entertained. This is like one of those indie games that turns out to be a real gem. So if you don't mind visual novel games and you're on board with the whole detective noir scene, certainly give this game a try. I'm almost 100% certain that you will have a good time.